Hi, I'm Lance Hendricks, and you're watching Bryan Lomax Movie Talk. Don't turn it off.
Hello there, welcome to Bryan Lomax Movie Talk and my review of Alien 3. I reviewed the first two Alien films recently, and that was primarily because I wanted to get to this one, part of my David Fincher season. But I didn't feel like I could review this without having reviewed those first two. But now they're out of the way, David Fincher. This is his debut feature film. Done a lot of work before this in music videos and promos and things like that. But yeah, big shoes to fill, coming off the back of Ridley Scott's Alien and obviously James Cameron's Aliens. Shoes that at this point in Fincher's career I feel were too big. This is a film that he's pretty much all but disowned. And the one I'll be reviewing for the sake of transparency, whatever, is the assembly cut. So the longer cut, basically, that is on the DVD. It's been a long time since I've seen the theatrical cut, but what I can say is I do remember not liking the theatrical cut as much as this one. When I saw it way back when, was the first time I saw it was on video. We rented it out on video. I was a bit too young to go and see it at the cinema, and I did not like it. I watched it with my brothers and a friend, and we were not impressed. Being big fans of the first two, it hurt. It cut deep. It wasn't good. Over the years, I have mellowed in my attitude towards it. It's definitely not up there with the first two, but I've come around to it in many ways, certain elements of it at any rate. And I don't think it's quite the dumpster fire that a lot of people would make it out to be. Picking up from Aliens, we have the ship that Ripley and Newt and Bishop, what was left of him, and Hicks were on, and it crash lands on a prison planet. Unfortunately, Hicks and Newt do not survive, and Ripley is kind of left amongst this prison of degenerate inmates who also have a kind of religious vibe about them. They're part of a religious community, also prison community. And she's kind of thrown in the midst of them and has to fend for herself and wait really for a rescue ship to come. But obviously an alien did manage to get on the ship with them. He's now on this planet and he's going to start picking them off. So the elephant in the room, the one thing you cannot escape, I guess, when talking about this film is Newt and Hicks. It's still a raw spot. It's still the biggest thing about this film that really disappoints. After all the character work that they did in Aliens, after everything that went on between these guys, particularly between Ripley and Newt, that kind of surrogate mother-daughter relationship, to the way that they kind of just destroy that here and just take those two characters out, that is the biggest unforgivable sin really of this film. And I think the degree to which you can get on board with that is the degree to which you can on the whole get on board with this film. And like I say, way back when, for me it was too unforgivable. I couldn't get my head around that. Over the years, I guess I kind of look at this as though it were, I don't know, some kind of alternate reality version of it, and it makes it more palatable. But it is what it is. That's the opening we get, okay? So the question is, does everything else from that point on remain true to the character of Ripley? If she was found in this situation, if this is what happened, is this still the same character? And the answer to that question for me is yes. You know, I feel like this is definitely a depressing film. It's definitely a downer. Like I said, given what came before, we've basically taken everything away from Ripley. We've stripped her of everything that she's kind of gained. And she's in a very dark place. And I think the only hopeful ray of light she has right now in this world she finds herself in is this character played by Charles Dance, this doctor character that she strikes this relationship up with. And I think this is a guy that perhaps prior to the events of Aliens, prior to the events of the start of this film, she may not have built a relationship with. But given the place she's in, I think she might be in quite a self-destructive place. And I think part of this relationship that she kind of strikes up with this guy is part of that, is the emotional state she's in. And I do like this relationship. Yes, I'm still distraught by the fact that we don't get Hicks, but I do like this character played by Charles Dance, and I do like the relationship that he and Ripley strike up. And when he kind of cops it halfway through, I am genuinely kind of heartbroken by that. I've come to like this character. I've come to warm to him very much so, and you know, kind of learning about his tragic past and things like that, I feel invested in him. So yeah, so if there's anything the film I think does do right, it is that relationship between these two. I do also think it is quite an interesting idea to throw this alien into this religious kind of sect, because you know, we see a few members are a bit more extreme than others. Some are just outright demented. We get this Paul McGann character who literally is, 3 sheets short of a bed cover, and he's just when he sees the alien, he almost worships it like some kind of deity, some kind of angel or demonic force or something. But it does have that kind of vibe where, you know, depending on how you look at it, you could read this as some kind of spawn from hell or something. But yeah, that stuff that was never in the theatrical cut, and if you've never seen the assembly cut, you're probably wondering what the hell I'm barking on about. But yeah, there's this whole kind of section in there when they're trying to trap it, where he wants to let it go because he's looking at it and almost as this heavenly figure, you know, something that's kind of been sent to judge them in a way, you know, to judge these guys who are all guilty of some of the worst crimes. And you could read the film that way if you wanted to, as this being some form of judgment. But yeah, it does have that kind of interesting element about it, I think, that was lost in the theatrical cut. It's probably never quite fully realised or as fully realised as it should be, but I think you can probably blame a lot of that down once again to the studio interference. So the primary thing that really made David Fincher not kind of want to talk about this film, let alone consider it part of his filmography. I think if we didn't have those first 2 Alien movies being such classics that they were, then I don't think this film would be dismissed quite so easily. I do think it's quite an entertaining ride. It does have some interesting characters, and I do like what they do with Ripley, despite the fact that, you know, they do take away stuff from her that we grew to love in the previous film. But if you can get over that hurdle, this is still quite a good journey for her to go on. And I like the fact that we do get that sacrifice that she makes towards the end of the film. Well, right at the end of the film. You know, I think it comes to a point in a character like this where they're, you know, they're such a hero and they've done all these things, where you do have to give a certain sense of finality, a certain ending. And I think this is a good way for her to go, is to make that sacrifice and take this creature with her. So there's these 2 characters played by Brian Glover and Ralph Brown, who are basically the prison warden and his second in command. And yeah, I guess Brian Glover just always plays that kind of greasy, almost like dirty old man vibe about him. He just there's something about him that makes my skin crawl. I don't know what it is. I'm sure the guy's a very nice man, yeah, again, here, there's something about him that just irritates me. And I think he's been cast for that reason. This is clearly meant to be a character that rubs people the wrong way. And then, like I say, this guy played by Ralph Brown is his second in command. He's a bit of a brown nose. He's he's too busy trying to, you know, impress his boss that he becomes oblivious to everything else that's going on around him. And I think they play that up a bit too much here, maybe. But you do warm to him a little bit, I think. I think as the film goes on and you learn a little bit about his past as well. It's one of the interesting things about the film, I guess, is that all these characters who are just kind of degenerates. But as the film goes on, we do get snippets of information about each of them that tells us that actually at some point these people were human beings before they lost their right to humanity and ended up on this crap hole of a planet. You know, they were human beings once and they had lives and stuff, you know. So I do like that element and the way that it is mildly explored. But like I say, those two characters can be quite irritating at times. The other guy, Paul McGann, which I've mentioned, who I really like in this film from performance standpoint. I think he gives a really great manic kind of performance. And the other is Charles S. Dutton, who plays this basically the religious leader of the group, who's, again, he's got a bit of a past and all that lot. But I like him as a character, just the fact that he's clearly not someone to be messed with, but he also has a certain sense of morality. He's got, you know, or he's trying very hard to hold to his faith. But in the place that he's in and the position that Ripley's kind of put him in, he's finding it very hard to do. So yeah, all those character dynamics I really like. I think they're a strong point of the film. It's just, again, like I say, it's very hard to get over that hurdle of what we know we've lost from the previous film. It's a bit of a mixed bag. I would say it's a good film. It's not a great film. I would give it a 3 out of 5. You know, and like I say, considering the classics that the first two were, that is quite disappointing to say that it's a 3 out of 5. It's got a lot of style. It's got, you know, typical David Fincher flair for the visuals. Although I will say there are a few special effects on the alien, which I'm reliably told isn't CGI, but is in fact puppetry work, which has then been kind of green screened and put. Yeah. It doesn't look that great at times. You know, when we get close up on the alien and stuff, it looks good. But other times when we see it running and that, it's really let down by some bad special effects. But yeah, so 3 out of 5 from me. I think perhaps I am being a little forgiving there. So if you asked my early 90s self, I probably would have given this a 2. But and again, like I said, I'm reviewing the assembly cut. I don't know how I'd feel about the theatrical cut, which I've not seen in many years. But 3 out of 5. What about you, though? You know, have you seen Alien 3? I would imagine you have if you're watching this. Please leave your thoughts about it down below. Thank you for watching this video. And until next time, crack it.